It is a quick video I'm making. I wasn't intending to do this video, but I'm doing this now. Um, my previous videos I showed you where I talked about how you had East Florida and West Florida, and how, which West Florida now is the area of Louisiana, and how a lot of times these white folks have changed so much of our history, and then they taking the black Choctaw and create these white Choctaw. Choctaw, the original blacks, and then the Choctaw, you got these white folks, man. And a lot of these, you have a lot of these so-called tribes, you got a lot of these fake white tribes, and these Asians, man, and these mulattoes. That's why I said that you can't be dating and marry outside of our group, because one of the damages when you start dating and marrying and procreating outside your group, you get a lot of these little, which you had these half-caste mulatto Indians who basically hijacked and stolen your identity, and the original full-blooded people, which is us, have been relabeled as African, which we're not African. All right, no matter what Negro scholars will try to tell you, try to link you to Africa, say you African, you're not African. And this gets a lot of these individuals pissed off, because the most researched melanated people on this planet, black people, have been here in America, because we've been doing that for the longest. So we seem to mostly care about that the most. It seems like out of our group. And now that some of us are really doing that, and it seems to be a problem for us doing that. And then some people just seem to have this anger that we're doing that, that we don't identify ourselves as, quote, African. And I always say that there's always been various different migrations, movements, mixing amongst various different black groups. But we are aboriginal to this land. I don't use the term foundational. We're aboriginal to this damn land. This is our land. All right, we are the true Indians. I know Indian is a name that was given upon just collectively to describe the people here. They call themselves by their different nations, so-called tribes. But we are aboriginal to this land. Do not let no foreigner who's not of this blood, your blood, tell you who you are. And a lot of them are doing that. It's very disrespectful. And that tells you they don't have no respect for our culture, our history, or us. But yet you want to benefit off our history and culture. That's disgusting. And I'm not going for that, man. And I'm not supplying it all, but there's too many of them caping. It's this clown, I forget his name, he's from Guyana. He's part Chinese. He's sitting there telling us who the hell we are, man. I can't stomach that clown. But this is what happens when you have these foreigners coming in here trying to dictate to you who you are. We gotta basically define who we are. No one else outside of our bloodline need to be telling us who the hell we are. That is disrespectful and ignorant. And that's why I look at people like Umar Johnson as a clown, and a self-hating clown, because he wants to be something that he's not. Now, he claims to be Cuban. That's fine. Speaking that, man. But don't be sitting there telling us who we are, making us foreigners in our own land. I'm tired of these people telling us that, man. I don't need Jabari or Garfield. These are immigrants in our midst trying to tell us who we are. It's a problem that we're going to have to stop. All right, so, and this doesn't apply to all, because there's some who know that, who trying to study our true history, know who we are. But I don't need people like I am Alejo, or was that Destiny UT, whatever her name is. Some of these little other African women trying to dictate who the hell we are. I'm tired of them, man. Stop trying to speak on our history. All right, you're not of the bloodline. Don't stop trying to tell us who we are, and start telling us what we should do and speaking on our history. You have no business doing that, because you're not of the bloodline. And I hear things said, it's very disgusting. They said what I heard Tariq said that mess the other day, man. It was very disgusting. But that also tells me that he's not a real researcher. Now he's trashing Moors, which, there's some things I agree with them, some things I don't. But the point is that he's going around now trashing Moors. I mean, really? So I don't listen to these mainstream Negroes because these mainstream Negroes will have you fall in a tale that's not there. You've had very different Negro groups that were here. Not all the black empires here were of Malian descent. All right, let's make this clear. There's very different types of Negroes here who mixed and intermingled here. America was what you call the land of the milk and honey. I told you before they had great stone bridges, stone streets paved out of gold, man-made lakes and rivers. They did that all here, man. I mentioned it in other videos. But we had great civilization throughout the Americas that our ancestors built here. Every single continent originally were Negroes. I showed you another book, showed you big, large heads that was carved in the rocks. Showed you images before over in Asia, over Cambodia, over Angkor Wat, Angkor Thom. I showed you individuals before, I believe I showed you one in Saudi Arabia, with images of a black man carved into rock, ancient deity. You see the image over in Bolivia, and you see the images over in the Americas, like Mexico with those large heads, images that were cut into rock that made natural faces of Aboriginal blacks. We were all over this planet, but some Negroes want to sit there and believe that mestizos are the Olmecs. Whatever. All different features originated from the so-called Negro. All these other groups have features that come from us. They'll take a certain portion of our features, but our features vary. It is the most diverse because we are the original people. I don't know what I have to say to get this through some Negroes' heads, but some Negroes want to talk about white features. There's no such thing as white features. There's features that are more accustomed to white folks, but their features originate from so-called Negroes. Period. I said before that you have the original people were black, and then their offsprings were albinoid white folks albinoid Negroes who later on, I guess you could say, morphed into some white folks. And then between black people and white people, in a very different mixture, you get these other groups of the black and white. But when you start mixing too much, you get the results you find in North Africa, over in the Pacific Islands, certain regions. You find it in Asia, and you find it in India. And then you find in America where the people who did not mix been classified, pushed into terms like freedmen or enslaved and referred to as African, where we're not from no damn Africa. And I want brothers and sisters to do the research. I'm continuing to put out the information, talking about mounds and structures that our ancestors built. Like I said, that our ancestors built the mounds. In baseball, the most important person on the field pitches on the mound. The pitcher. The most important player on the baseball field pitches on the mound, and the mounds used to be higher. They were lowered partially, I'm going to say, because of, I was going to say Josh Gibson. The brother out of St. Louis, Bob Gibson. All right. So he's such an intimidating pitcher. A brother out of Omaha, Nebraska. But for the Cardinals. But we need to really study our history. Do not let foreigners tell you who you are, even if they're melanated foreigners, because many of them came over here and caused hell to our people here. This is why I have problems with a lot of foreigners trying to tell us who we are. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. So we need to continue to study our history. We got to get out this mess that we got names from white people, because white folks got their names from us. The Irish, Celts, Celt, the English, the Scottish, the original Scandinavians, these were all Negroes, man. All of Europe was named after a Moorish princess. All of Europe was once black, period. And you had certain periods where you had more of an Islamic period. You had your Catholic blacks there. I showed you before of St. Peter, who St. Peter was, and how he really looked, you know. And I showed you the images of a lot of those flags. A lot of those flags had an X on there, and they were all white compared to the X with the red and the blue. Well, the red flag with the blue X and the stars compared to just the all white X there from the Moors over there. Then you had the X and some of the monuments they were building here. You know, that's a lot of the black people built here. So I'm just saying it was always a connection. I know there's a difference between the black European and the Aboriginal black people here in America. There are differences. All right. But I want to make it clear. First of all, when you start studying history, you realize there's some black folks who done some devilish stuff that you're not going to like. Because I hear some of these Negro scholars talk about all black folks are peaceful. That's a goddamn lie. Some of the most vicious, dirty, disgusting bastards that ever existed were black. You know, but we're going to have to come to that realization. But not all of us are the same. So when I hear that mess like that, African Diaspora Network said we one global Negro, man, please. Come from a dude who's not even married to a black woman, man, please. I take this stuff with a grain of salt. We're not one global Negro, man. We are different. We vary in features, and we vary in culture. And I'm tired of our culture being hijacked and given to a continent thousands of miles away, which we basically start our stuff here from our Aboriginal bloodline. You know, Tariq want to claim to be African now. Go to Africa, dude. Or use that term FBA. We're not no FBA. We are Aboriginal. So I'm not going to use the term FBA. I'm going to use the term Aboriginal. Or the original black, but not no FBA. But if you want to use that, that's on you. We are Aboriginal to this planet, but particularly here in Americas, and we do not allow other people to sit up there and tell us who we are. We need to come to grips that the fact that we have agents among us that are very dirty and deceitful and trifling, and they need to go. So my main point is this: continue to study your history. All right, and there's so much other stuff that I want to talk about. Like I said, I mentioned before about the national parks, how a lot of our information, cultures at these national parks, how they're basically covering our stuff up. See, these white folks are not our friends. That's why I say we shouldn't be procreating with them or any of these other groups. So all we're doing is diluting ourselves and bleaching ourselves out. Some of our people don't want to hear that, but you gotta hear this. That's what you're doing. You don't want to hear it, but that's what you're doing. And in some instances, I question you dating other type of black people because you're basically weeding out your lineage. You have a great lineage here in America, but many of us don't know that because we keep saying we African, talking about connect to Africa. No, our history's here. We have a great Aboriginal history here, but when you keep denying that and keep running Africa, you're going to basically start to totally continue to move. You already somewhat abandoned it, but you're going to continue to basically push yourself away from it more, and it's going to go slip into oblivion because you're going to be totally ignorant of it because you've been totally brainwashed to go to another place and thinking that's your home, but your home is here. And some of us don't want to hear that unless it's coming from a white man's mouth or a white woman's mouth, like that racist Jane Elliott, who doesn't know what the hell she talking about either. Because if she knew who the original Indians were, and I believe she does know, they were melanated, copper-colored, blue-black, to a yellowish color, Negro, black people, period. Melanated people, period. And if some brothers and sisters or individuals globally do not want to accept that, then they're showing that they're enemy too. Accept what we want to be identified as and accept the fact that we're not African and stop pushing that on us. I'm not saying there's no kind of no distant family relationship or closeness, but we're not all African. Let's make that clear. Peace and love, brothers and sisters.